Well, and I think it's important with journaling that you recognize that there's no rules.
Yeah.
I've got one friend who journals, and all she does is write the first letter of each word, is all she writes in there. I've got another friend who journals, and all she does is draw stick figures. But that's how she works through her feelings. And so I think, you don't have to worry about punctuation or capitalization, or even if you're using words that you should be using.
Right.
Your journal is your safe place. It's your sandbox. Do whatever you want in it.
Yeah. So do you have self-care tools that you've, implemented to kind of help you keep yourself stable for work and that kind of thing? Or what do you do?
I do. I'm a big routine person. I've got routines for everything. When I get up, when I go to bed, what time I take my medications. I even have smart lights set around the house that when a certain one turns on, I know I need to take a medication. Routines are huge. Journaling is huge. Journaling has been my lifeline. I've kept a journal since I was 11 years old. So since 1983, which is hard to believe. I've got an entire trunk full of journals, which some poor person will hopefully burn when I'm gone. But journaling is amazing because it gives you a safe place that you can say whatever.
Yeah.
And I struggled a lot. I still struggle with bipolar anger.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I really struggled with it. And if you pushed my button, I ripped your head off. And I knew how to find your buttons fast, and I could tear a person down. And I hated that part of me. But yet it was like it was this monster that took over whenever I was enraged, and I couldn't stop it. So journaling really helped with that because it gave me a place that I could say whatever ugly thing was in my head and then either destroy it or just walk away from it.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed that whenever I hear somebody that's been able to consistently journal, I'm really impressed by that. When I was in the thick of my disorder for about a decade, I tried journaling because everybody kept therapists were telling me, the doctor was telling me, and I would try. But when I was manic, my brain worked way too fast for me to write. And it was so frustrating that I just couldn't do it. It was like, it was just aggravating to me. It was a very stressful experience. And then when I was depressed, my brain was so muddy that I couldn't formulate thoughts. And so I avoided journaling actively because I felt like it exacerbated my awareness of my mental state. And it was so stressful to me that I stopped doing it. I just didn't want to do it anymore. I hated journaling. But now that's become one of my most important mindfulness tools. I started doing the morning pages that I don't know if you've heard about morning pages from the Artist Way.
William Cameron,
yeah. And I it's really interesting though, because I have to actively remind myself that nobody's ever going to see this, because there are times when I start to edit myself and I'm like, nope, that's not the point of this. The point of this is to get whatever is in your head, whatever crazy thing is going on in your brain, out on the page. Don't worry about, nobody is ever going to read this. I hide my morning pages. Nobody has access to them, so that I can just dump it. And I probably won't keep them. I'll probably throw them away so that I have to actively believe that about it so that I don't edit what I'm putting in there, because I think that's one of the biggest things that I've experienced with bipolar is the intensity of the thoughts. And sometimes thoughts that come into your head that are, you feel like are bad thoughts, you judge the thoughts that you're having as bad. And so you think good people don't have thoughts like that.
Right.
And so I think one of the things that I've learned with the journaling is that it takes the wind out of those sails. When you write it out, you can look at it, kind of more drawn back from it and kind of separate yourself and think, I don't want to engage with that thought. I'm not going to, mindfulness practice itself is helpful for that. But I found getting it out onto the page really has a power that I don't find any other way. So yeah, I love journaling now. I didn't like it for a long time. I didn't like counseling either. So
awesome. Well, and I think it's important with journaling that you recognize that there's no rules.
Yeah.
I've got one friend who journals, and all she does is write the first letter of each word, is all she writes in there. I've got another friend who journals, and all she does is draw stick figures. But that's how she works through her feelings. And so I think, you don't have to worry about punctuation or capitalization, or even if you're using words that you should be using.
Right.
Your journal is your safe place. It's your sandbox. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.